Okay. Hello and a welcome. Um, we are going to be doing this as a live stream and a recording so that everyone can kind of see this afterwards if they're interested, where we're going to go through how you can leverage what data is out there and different systems engaging with AI and big data so that you can better engage the communities that you're focusing on Reddit. We're going to go through this in a number of different ways. I'll show you a bit about my background and what I do. Hopefully, that will help you to better understand where we're going with this new approach to AI in terms of ads and resonance marketing on social media. And hopefully you get something useful out of it, particularly as Prime Day approaches. We're going to discuss a little bit about the background of Prime Day. The assumption is that you already know a little bit about it, probably even more than me. So the general outline is we're going to cover all of the big W questions. We'll go through the who, what, when, and where. We're going to discuss a bit about the how, and I'll show you how you can do this using our tools, and hopefully see how maybe that integrates in with the flow of what you're already doing with your own tools. And then I'm going to try and focus in a bit about the why. Personally, that's the question that engages me the most. Why is it that people are interested in content? Why do they engage with your content? Why does advertising even work from a very fundamental level? And then, why is it that we can use AI now in order to try and increase that engagement, increase that resonance, increase the way that those messages really stick in people's minds and how they can sort of navigate the complexities of the communities online that we call markets. So hopefully this gets sets us off in the right direction, gives us a little bit of an outline of the kind of questions that we're going to be answering offhand. Um, the first one is who. Uh, who are we? So at Culture Pulse, we were founded in 2021. I'm based here in Bratislava, where it is, right at the end of the working day. Originally from the United States, our team is mostly headquartered in Bratislava. We also have a great team that does a lot of the product lead and the product development in Zagreb, and then we have a couple of other people working remotely with us throughout Europe and North America. Um, our clients range they cover a really large range actually. Some of them are large companies that we work with. We've worked with some of the top universities in the world. University of Cambridge has been a client of ours starting from last year. We've worked with the Research Council of Norway, helping them to track information and emotion online. Most recently, we've started working with the UN to try and help see how we can analyze news stream data using our AI technology to try and promote peace in post-conflict societies. And we've also worked with think tanks like the Center for Mind and Culture and other tech startups like Me Prism, based out of the United States, that does work, really interesting work in data security. So we're really happy and really proud of the work that we do with all of these clients. And hopefully some of the new stuff that we're doing in terms of creating a self-service ad platform where you can really test your ad copy against our technology will maybe add some of you to the list as well. So when it comes to what we do, the broad sort of single phrase of what energizes us is really trying to understand why. What is it about human psychology that motivates behaviors? How is it that beliefs energize different marketing behaviors? How is it that they deal with different reactions, be they socially or economically? These sorts of like scientific explanation questions is where we get very nerdy. It's where we really get our energy from. So a lot of other companies that you'll notice, particularly in the social media and ad space, they're really focusing on describing things. They're really answering the what question, right? They're looking at engagement, likes, shares, retweets, quote tweets, etc., and they're giving you the information about how many people liked something, how many people thought something was funny, how many people shared something in a particular time period. That information is, of course, very useful, and it's really been the bedrock of social media analytics for the better part of the last decade. Um, but it doesn't really go far enough. One of the examples that I like to use is that until he was no longer allowed on the platform, Donald Trump was the most interacted with personality on Twitter. Not all of those interactions were positive, though. So a lot of the shares were from his supporters, a lot were from detractors. A lot of the likes and reactions that were there were both from both supporters and detractors. So Understanding just how many does not give you the full picture of what's going on. Knowing that someone was quoted in the news doesn't say whether or not that quote was positive or negative. And on the social media space, sharing some information, when people add their own opinion to that information, it could be that they're applauding the original material, or it could be that they're really hating on the original material. From a marketing standpoint, that is extremely valuable information, much more valuable than the number of retweets in its own right, of course. Knowing that something is a positive retweet or a negative retweet can help you in terms of product feedback. It can help you in terms of product market fit. It can help you to increase conversion in marketing campaigns. Because if you know what is positively engaging your market, what's positively increasing the interactions that you're getting when you're paying for those impressions, you don't want to spend negative money, you want to spend positive money. So being able to do that in a more algorithmic way, where you can leverage the tools of AI and big data, since that data is already there, can help not just increase the efficiencies but also increase the quality of what's being done. So for us, the way that we do that is by answering explanations, right? Why is it that people are resonating with the information that you're putting out? Why is it that people are engaging with that material positively or negatively, right? Why do they like it? Why do they dislike it? These sorts of questions are where we think the real meat, the real value is in social media analytics. So for us, we were really founded in order to develop computer models that help us to understand the answers to these why questions, and really kind of take these to the next level in an algorithmic way. So some of the customers I know I've already mentioned that we work with. One of them here is worked with us now for over a year and a half. And one of the things that we try and bring in, of course, is the ability to leverage the large amount of data that's on social media in order to cater to the adding value into the use case that we actually have. So getting into the what question, what is Prime Day? Effectively, most people watching this already know. Prime Day is an annual sale that happens pretty much every year. It happens exclusively on Amazon. It is sort of one of their big promotional deals. Car dealerships in America have President's Day. The world kind of has Black Friday before Christmas. Amazon has Prime Day. Last year, they did $12 billion in sales worldwide. That is increasing. Hard to imagine, actually, given how well Amazon did during the 2020-2021 lockdown years. But believe it or not, they are actually still increasing above our own natural addictions to Amazon, given the circumstances. And one of the things I think is really interesting to kind of highlight here is that of that 12 billion, a significant portion of it, 3 billion, right? So we're talking about a quarter of all of that all of that money did go to SMEs. So a lot of people who might be interested in automating their marketing because they can't afford a team of marketers, a team of copywriters, a team of data scientists to try and help them out because they're not the big Fortune 500s. A significant amount of that Amazon revenue every year is going to those SMEs. So we're hoping that our technology is really going to be able to engage with them in a fruitful and useful way. Um, when it comes to what's offered on Prime Day, you have a lot of different things that are being offered, of course. We have exclusive deals for Amazon Prime members. You have the Prime membership, you have free delivery, streaming, gaming, a lot of exclusive deals. I think that's mostly the meat of what's going on Prime Day for most people here. You even have things like prescription drug savings, which I never actually knew until I started really looking into Prime Day from an advertising and marketing perspective. Um, and when it comes to the size of that market that's listening to you as a marketer going into Prime Day, you're looking at about 200 million members globally that you could potentially engage with. So that is a significant group of people. When is it going to be this year? This year is going to be July 11th and 12th. You will see some early deals start. Deals usually start trickling in, the week before. So we'll start to see deals as early as the 8th or 9th. So that means it's less than 2 weeks away. So if you haven't already prepared a strategy, or you already haven't, if you're already behind on getting copy done for those ads, I think this is something that the rest of this presentation, I'm hoping, is something that can really kind of let you catch up more quickly. So where is Prime Day? Well, Prime Day is global. right? So we have to meet them where they are. People are no longer in brick and mortar stores, so it's both easier and harder to meet people. We know where they are; they're online. You can utilize a million different ad platforms to try and consider different strategies. You can use ad platforms on social, ad platforms on SEO, and paid through things like Google. You can also try and use influencers. You can use blogs and SEO, word of mouth. You can go a million different ways, but effectively for Amazon Prime, people are online. That's where they're purchasing. So you need to reach them in their seats, in their homes, in their offices, and try and figure out what it is that really engages with them in a way that's going to stand out while they're going through everything else in their daily life. Um, Social, of course, is a great place for this. Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. These are all great places to try and find the market. That's where they're already there. They're already sitting. They're scrolling. You can put eyes on page. Of course, we even titled this presentation around Reddit, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Um, One of them is that Reddit is a very underappreciated outlet on the social media landscape. It's something that has a lot of pros and cons, but the pros, I think, outweigh the cons, particularly in the long term. When you look at the map here of all of the different internet devices that exist in the world, you do see that primarily the users of the internet are still in the United States and Europe. That's also where Reddit tends to be. They're trying to grow their footprint globally, but they are, heavily weighted disproportionately towards the English language audience. Uh, Most of marketing, I think, fits with that well, though, right? So that's not something that's really a deterrent to Reddit marketing. What Reddit marketing has, though, that other places don't is community, and I think that's something we can talk about. Um, when we compare all of them across the way here, the amount of users that we have from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, got all of the screen size for Instagram there. The monthly active users across all of them are pretty large. I mean, Reddit has a massive monthly active user base of about a half a billion people. One of the things, though, that's useful to note here is that the time on site for Reddit, so the average user time on site, uh, is higher than it is on Twitter and even on Facebook. Right, so Reddit kind of reigns supreme as the highest time on site on the internet. So even though you only have 430 million users, your ability to engage with that audience is actually higher than it is in a lot of other places. Reddit is going to have a lot of users that are there, they're engaged, they're sitting on the platform, they're spending a lot of time on the platform, but they're also engaging in a community, and that's something unique, right? So I wanted to put this at the bottom of this little table here, that when you look at how you engage with people on these social media platforms, they're kind of slightly different. I mean, Twitter and Instagram, and TikTok as well, right? You're really going user to user. You're just kind of putting it up there. You're hoping to get in their feeds. Those Instagram, the structure of the site itself is such that you're really trying to talk to the user as a brand or as a company. With LinkedIn, you have a couple of different ways that you can do it, right? You have the user approach still, of course. But you also have the page presence, right? We have a LinkedIn page that is absolutely amazing. You should definitely check it out. But you have that page option in a way that when Twitter as a business, your presence is still the same as a user presence. You don't have any sort of unique platform that you can reach out to people from in the way that you can on LinkedIn. Of course, on Facebook, a lot of the traction really comes from that page, where that's really your presence. On Reddit, you can have a user as a company. On Reddit, you can even have your own subreddit as a company on Reddit. But the fact of the matter is that when you really want to look at why people go to Reddit and why they engage, what's keeping them on the site so long, what makes it actually a valuable market for you to address in your marketing strategy, is the community, right? You have within Reddit over 100,000 active subreddits that every day are being engaged with in some really interesting way. So it doesn't really matter what you're selling. You can find your community on Reddit and you can engage directly into it. You don't have to worry about things like subsetting people by demographics, which are kind of horrible proxies for belief, right? I mean, as we all know, people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, they can believe and be interested in all different kinds of things. Um, but they're not always subset very well. I mean, Facebook does a great job about asking you about your interests and using your about you to kind of resell that to us as advertisers. In the Reddit space, though, people self-allocate themselves based on the community of their own interests, and they can be in a lot of different communities, and those communities can be interrelated. They can form different interest groups where you have multiple communities of the same kind going into it. So in that way, it makes Reddit unique. It makes it very powerful because it's truly social. So when it comes to the social and social media, Reddit really lives that at a level of site structure and user flow that other sites are not currently leveraging. So getting to that, it makes it a little bit more interesting. Markets are also communities. You don't build a product just for one person, right? You build a product for a community, and then you try and sell it to the people that comprise that community. Reddit kind of takes that and makes it a bit more direct, right? When you look at that, it allows it to be very efficient. So, I mean, dollar for dollar, you do see that Reddit is one of the more expensive sites to A/B test into, based on our estimates here. And this assumes, certain things about how many impressions you're looking for, et cetera. But its cost is comparative to the other sites. The thing that it offers, though, there, which is nice that it's cost comparative across all of the other major players, is that Reddit gives you the group that you're looking to put your information into, right? Your message is there. So you can take the megaphone, and so long as your message is resonating with that group, you're already there and you're already being able to put your information in front of the eyes that need to be there. So when it comes down to it, the way that we say it is like, where do you go? You need to go where the people are ready for you. How do you speak? You need to speak how they're ready to hear you. And, how do you move them, right? How do you incite behavior? How do you get through those calls to action? You need to move them the way that they're ready to be moved. And this sort of like reflection, this back and forth, this, you know, going where they're ready, speaking how they're ready to hear, moving how they're ready to be moved. That's very much the basis of the resonance algorithm that our AI is built on. So when we go to how to do it, the argument that we make is the biggest issues, particularly on Reddit, it's not that they aren't engaged users. They are engaged users. You can even see the number of people who, when they search for an answer to a question of any kind, be it about product or even, coding and artificial intelligence, they're going to Reddit and they're asking these questions in subreddit and they're getting this community feedback. It's a very beautiful thing, and it goes to show the power of that site structure. So if you're able to leverage that, that becomes something that's very, very, very powerful for you. So the biggest issues with Reddit aren't the engaged users, it's disengaged brands. It's brands that aren't sure how to leverage that community action and that community energy, because for the last 10 years they've been focused on Reddit, they've been focused on Twitter, they've been focused on Instagram, and going and trying to create those sorts of messages where the best that they have are user demographics on the one-to-one. They're not sure how to Reddit like a Redditor, right? They can't really get into that system and reflect back the concerns of that community, because what happens is that if you go into a subreddit and you throw something in there that's just dissonant with that community, it's just not ringing true, there's that dog pile on effect, right? You just put it forward in front of a community. Some of these communities have millions and millions of users in a subreddit. If it doesn't resonate, it's not going to go over well. If it does resonate, you can make it all the way to the top. There's even, for those of you who don't know, there are even these things people jokingly call, they're basically like the Reddit kiss of death, where you do so well on Reddit that you sell out of your product, your servers go down. You end up moving more merchandise than you have the ability to move because Reddit loved you. So that's one of those champagne problems. That's a nice problem to have when it's staring you in the face, because it means that you've over succeeded, if you will. Um, One of the main things that can help you to do this is market research. Naturally, market research can be long and tedious and drawn out. And a lot of times we need to create messages that resonate in a really interesting and useful way. The way that we want to do this is by going through and letting people create their A/B tests directly. So I'll show you a bit about how we do this using our own platform here. Uh, so this is the backend marketplace that we have, that where you can do all sorts of different things. Our enterprise customers are using a couple of different modules that are already on the platform. We're going to do A/B testing. We're going to try and do this with Reddit. At the moment, you can add a test. So we'll just call this market test one. This is data all ends up being saved on our back end once you're logged into the system. You can get to it through the link that's in the presentation, app.culturepulse.ai. Um, and then you can go through and you basically just give a company or product name, your tone of voice, the number of outputs you want, and a product description. So here we'll go through and we will say, I'm here drinking of vitamin water. So we'll say water. Um, you know, tone of voice. We'll say it is happy, healthy, and friendly. Number of outputs. We'll go for 3 outputs here, and we'll say vitamin water is, and that's not. There we go. Vitamin water is healthy, happy alternative to soft drinks for those looking to stay in shape. Yeah, so we're gonna do it this way: healthy, happy, healthy alternative. Can't spell today. Healthy alternative. Low cost. Go into the interest groups. Now here we have about 300 different interest groups and communities. The communities on this particular module are individual subreddits. The interest groups are combinations of subreddits, and this is designed specifically to mimic the ads platform, the self-service ads platform that Reddit provides for you directly, right? So we have all of the same interest groups that are there, plus Meta, which is all of Reddit, right? It's sort of the meta group over all of them. So here, healthy living seems about right. And then we go through and we click next. What happens now is our system works with ChatGPT in order to optimize ads. So we're not just throwing in a prompt. This isn't just a fill in the blank prompt engineering exercise like everyone else has. This is something where our system is going in and getting the data from the subreddits. We have a contract where it allows us to get data directly from the Reddit API, and we can distill what the core psychology of that market is, what their concerns are, what their morality looks like, right? Are they interested in friends or family? Are they introverted or extroverted? A lot of these key psychological movers of the market. And then when ChatGPT creates an ad, our system will go back and say, actually, the key to this market is that they're very interested in this, they're very interested in that. And so what we can then do is go through, we help ChatGPT to optimize the AI directly on the fly, and what you get is optimized copy that comes out. So if you see here, 81, these are good. I mean, 60 is about the threshold of what we see testing through what most agencies are actually putting on Reddit. So what you see here is pretty much above human level output for ad copy. You can also go through and say, okay, well, 72, let's say I like something about this, right? I like the look no further than vitamin water. I like the stay hydrated and treat yourself issue. But then you kind of see, okay, well, a lot of these are likely to complain. So you can say something that could engage with the fact that you see here that our market audience analysis has highlighted that about 50% of this market is likely to complain. So you could say something like, don't worry, um, you know, you play, we'll take care of you. Something that might be reassuring. And you analyze that. In theory, it might go up, might go down. There we go. Okay, so we get up. So you can see how you can also optimize this ad copy by leveraging the information that's there. Let's say you have a specific tone of voice in your branding that you want to play with. You can always go through and play with that. You can also generate more variants as well. So let's say you've got these 3. You want to do something a little bit more. You can go through and generate another one here. Again, it's going back and forth between our AI system and the open AI system. Here, you see, did not like that one. It did not go very well there. So you can even play with something like, generating variants and changing the tone of voice. So something that says serious and informed. Generate that and see how that plays with it. So through this, you can hone in that messaging. Now, instead of paying a copywriter as much as you are currently paying them, this doesn't necessarily replace them, right? Not always taking jobs. What it is doing though is allowing them to express themselves in a way that is resonating with the community in a much more low risk way. So from there, you can go through. You can even see a complete analysis of what's going on in these markets. You get the full market profile data that we have that's updating fairly quickly. But then you've also got the ability to look and see in the healthy living community. There's things that people like. They're talking a lot about weight. They're also talking work is the number one topic that you see. That's the largest bubble. So you can see, things that they need to do during their workday, right? Things that look good during the workday is a bit of an issue. It's something that's difficult. It seems to be that they might be struggling with. So that's a bit about for us, how we do what we do when it comes to message resonance on our own platform. So the way that we do that, the background of what happens there, digging just a bit deeper so that you can see what's going on in regards to the resonance on the platform, and how we get from your text inputs to ad copy that you can copy and paste directly into the Reddit Ads Manager. We have 93 different dimensions of human psychology and social life that our AI system is tracking. So you can put any text in 100 different languages, and we will measure it across 93 dimensions. This is similar to sentiment analysis. Some of you might be familiar with companies that are doing sentiment analysis in online social media. For example, some of the companies you might even be using, companies like Talkwalker or Brandwatch, places like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, a lot of them even have their own sentiment analysis built into some of their tools and platforms for things like CRM, et cetera. Um, those are just looking at whether or not the text is emotionally positive, negative, or neutral. Our system has positive and negative emotionality, and then it has 91 other dimensions of human psychology and sociology. So taking into account family, how important is family? How important are friends? How important is health? How important is religion is there? Are people talking in ways that are open? Are they talking in ways that seem pretty like loose and relaxed? They're not very uptight about things. These are all different dimensions that we're actively tracking in our system. And you can imagine it almost like tuning your radio. You have all of the different wavelengths that are there. We have 93 different wavelengths, and we're helping to try and tune that message so that it really reflects what's going on in that market in a way that can be healthy and happy and is not just reliant on the nature of A/B testing in social media currently. As you notice, our system is not A/B testing into the platform itself. Our system is A/B testing into an AI system. So we have a digital twin of your market with hundreds of these digital twins, where it represents tens of millions of data points, where that will it gives us the baseline for the resonance there. So instead of taking an A/B test, your A copy and your B copy, and putting it onto Reddit and then measuring how well it works, obviously we can't do that in seconds. What we do is we take an A copy and a B copy, or an automatically generated copy, and we put that into the digital twin, and we say, hey, how well is this going to perform? And within a couple of seconds, we can do what it usually takes A/B testing to do in days or maybe even weeks, right? So that's something that has a couple of different benefits. One, it's quicker, it's cheaper, and also it has less risk associated with it. If you take bad copy and you get caught up in something like some sort of social media controversy, you can ultimately damage your brand, and you're going to realize real quick that which copy didn't do well, but you're still going to have to mitigate then at that point the issue at hand of dealing with the negative fallout of having a bad copy go out. On our system, within this simulated environment, the users don't actually see the copy. So you don't have to worry about the brand management in that way. You can throw anything into that system, pretty much, and you have zero brand risk. All you've done is just paid to use our platform. Um, but distilling all of these different dimensions into one single metric that you can use to make a decision, that's ultimately what we're calling the resonance score. And it's based in about 30 years of psychological research between myself and the co-founder at Culture Pulse with me, Professor Laurent Schultz. He and I worked as academics for many, many years. He holds PhDs in Princeton, currently a professor in Norway. I've left the university space, and he and I have been doing this research for some time when we came across this resonance algorithm. A bit of background, like I mentioned, as to how it works is we can do this with a lot of different data pipelines. Of course, here we're talking about Reddit. I wanted to show you about a bit about Reddit because of the underutilization on the platform, really the missed opportunity that so many people are looking at. But we can take anything from a lot of different data sources, from text, scripts, audio, video, images, CSV files where you may have your copy stored, Excel files, etc., or a number of different social networks. It goes through our language decomposition engine where we're picking apart the language and better understanding it. And then we're going through and we're able to understand, sentiment, personality, the key themes and concerns, beliefs, morality. And you can use this for message optimization. You can also use this for market segmentation. I showed you a little bit about how we do that on the back end when it comes to our complete market analysis. And a lot of people, of course, you're using this for research. And we've been doing this not just in terms of market research, but in terms of even larger, clinical psych research questions that we're currently doing with some of our partners. So the wrap up, the takeaway that I like to leave people with on a lot of this is that no one's ever made a decision because of a number, right? They need a story. This is a quote from Daniel Kahneman. He's one of my scientific nerd heroes, if you will. He's the father of behavioral economics. He won Nobel Prize, I think, in 2002 for his work in human psychology and how it motivates how we understand value. Um, you know, Culture Pulse AI really tries to bridge that gap. For us, we're very much numbers people. We're very much, trying to bring the best science of social networks as we can, but we're trying to leverage that to help increase the quality of things like language, ad copy, the branding, the way that you present yourself online. And that's where the story comes in, right? It's not just enough to have all the numbers. We have all the numbers. The numbers are all there, and a lot of the numbers are just kind of misused or misappropriated. And I think that what we find is that going back and forth, putting humans in the loop of AI in a new way is going to be the way that the market moves forward. The way that we understand what's going on in AI today. A lot of the times, you can't log on to LinkedIn or log on to any of these platforms without seeing people talking about the new thing in GPT. Everyone in marketing is talking about, oh, I've got a new prompt engineering technique that's going to help you increase your marketing by X and X and X%. And maybe they do. Prompt engineering is obviously very valuable. It's something that I think is a great skill that we're going to have to hone in. But I think what's more than that is we're also going to need deeper analytics of communities and markets, and that's something that our system is uniquely capable of doing. And it allows us to really kind of forecast that human behavior, forecast the way that people react to messages and information on the internet. And this really can be used for a lot of things, like we've said, optimization of communication, advanced segmentation for the actionable insights for you and your clients. These are the things that we really can try and push forward through the simple use of these software as a service apps in the immediate future. So, why does it work? Market research works. We know and we know that's why it's valuable and why it's happened. What we're doing is automating it, and automating it at scale with more psychology than most market research ever even thought to use. We're looking at the fact that people pay attention to what they know, what they're familiar with, what they care about, right? That's the things that resonate with you. We also know that people pay attention to things that sound right, even if they've never heard it before. Right. And, we can go down the rabbit hole on why this is in psychology, but looking at things like, Bayesian reasoning and source vigilance versus content vigilance and all of these other nerdy psychological terms that we don't need to necessarily spend time on right now, but maybe we can do in like a Q&A session on another day. But at the end of the day, when something rings true to us, when we hear it, it gets through a lot of the filters in our brain that are really blockers on our attention. And it's getting through those filters that can be so powerful for marketing, right? Creating those sort of like brain worms, those things that just burrow right in and sit deep down, so that the next time someone thinks, oh, I need this, I need X, or I need Y, they can think about the brand or product that's come out because it's resonated with them and it's really stuck with them. It's integrated itself like a puzzle piece into the psychology of the human brain. The best way that we can think of doing that, of course, is big data and AI. You can pay a psychologist to do this, and in 6 months, he might be able to create one ad that works. But by leveraging big data and AI, you can increase the speed of copywriters. You can increase the speed of ad placement, of A/B testing, of psychological research, of market research. All of these things happen so much faster once you have a platform like this in your hand. So, for us, I would just like to thank you for sticking around. We're gonna kind of switch over and do a Q&A that will follow, later on another platform. But happy to get any feedback. You can always email me. You can always reach out to us. And one of the things that I'll kind of leave us with here, that I wanted to mention, is that on the actual platform here, for anyone who is using it, we do have a free promo code that gets you a free 30 days on the platform for free. So your first month is free, and doing that kind of as we lead into Amazon Prime, the Amazon Prime Day launch next month. So thank you guys very much, and hopefully this was useful for everyone. I will stop the recording and we can kind of move on from there.